All right, welcome to Archie and Donny Extra, or Donny and Archie Extra. It really depends on who you're asking, because between the hours of 5:30 and 9, Monday to Friday, it is Archie and Donny, but we're off the air now, so there's no real rules, right?
I love this. You've been here for a week, and the first opportunity that you've got to flip our names around, you've decided to take it.
I was doing my pod earlier in the week, and the guy do it with Jord. He called it Donny and Archie, and I, for the record,
Yeah.
stopped him in his tracks, and I said, no. It's Archie and Donny. Have some respect.
And to
mate.
Jord, I say this: get a job in radio.
Yeah.
It's really important whose name's first.
I think it is. I remember when I got the job, I was on the phone with V, and I said, I still want to be called Donny on the radio, by the way. And she goes, yeah, that's fine. Archie and Donny, Donny and Archie, Archie and Donny.
It's funny. You would be surprised how, like, actual general long thoughts go into whose name should go where. And they always say that if you've got someone whose name ends in a hard letter, right?
Yeah.
It's always good to have them last.
Yeah.
So and everyone on radio has a nickname as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of the time the first person will be Archie or Lutzy or whatever it might be.
We're both E's.
I know.
Archie
So then
and
so
Donny.
then it just went with seniority and talent.
Yeah. Well,
In order.
Not as much the form of it. I when I heard it the first time, I was like, oh, 2 E's. But now I actually quite like it. It's grown on me, which is good because I'm going to be hearing it like 16 times a day every single day.
More than that.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you like? So you've been on Brekkie Radio now for a week.
Yep.
Getting up at 4, but also it's not just the waking up early part, but it's also the seeing how the show is made.
Yeah.
You know,
seeing
what's
how the
your
sausage is made.
We'll go through, some of the highlights of the week, but how have you found the first week?
I really liked it. Like I said to you at 7:30 this morning. Oh my God, I'm having so much fun. And it's been...
It was relieving to hear that after 5 days.
Yeah. By the way, when I go to Brisbane this week, I am coming back.
You're not already taking a break.
No, I just feel so blessed, man. Everyone's just been saying such lovely, lovely things, and it's an odd one because most of the people that I've done stuff with in the past, they're all lovely, but the people that we talk to, part of the fun is like taking the piss out of you.
Oh, yeah.
And then so for those same people to turn around and be like, man, I'm so proud of you. You're like, what's going on? What's going on? And the other thing is, like, I think it's a lot like when someone gets drafted out of college and goes into the NFL. It's like, no, but hear me out.
Some of your analogies this week.
Because
It's been so good.
when someone gets drafted first overall, you think, oh my God, what an achievement. But like that's actually where it starts. Like that's actually where the work starts.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying like congratulations, and I'm obviously so grateful for the congratulations. But
Sure.
it's like, but now is when the work actually starts.
Yeah.
It's not like I've ascended to some point, and it's like, oh, and now you just get to coast forever. It's like now I've like worked to a position where it's like now it's every single day working hard every day.
Yeah.
So it's like so you can sit there and reflect and be like, awesome, number 1 draft pick, but oh my God, now you have to show up every single day.
Do you think you were the number 1 draft pick for this job?
I don't know what number. How many people said no before I finally said yes?
No. You were head and above everybody else as far as the people that we wanted for this job or the person that we wanted for the job. But you are right. Yeah, it is funny, and I found in radio every gig that I've got, it's come with a lot of support from loved ones. But you do realize it's not just getting it; it's performing every day and keeping it up. But mate, you've absolutely smashed it this week. You've opened yourself up. It's you're coming from a podcast background, and I know you have the facilities now where you can listen to feedback. I love the stuff you guys do when you get people who have like called into the show, and I love how there's like a platform to do that online now.
Yeah.
But is it different from when you listen back to those voicemails on a podcast compared to when we're doing the show live and you get a phone call from something maybe we've just said? Or like, is it different? Does it feel different?
It's so different.
Really?
It's so different.
Like the immediate feedback.
Yeah, because so my pod, more often than not, the main one we do, I will record it on a Tuesday and it comes out on a Friday. We used to do 2 a week, so it used to come out Wednesday, Friday. Now we just do a super show. It's really good. But we recorded on we just kept on recording on the Tuesday. So in my mind, the voicemails from the weekend, I hear it on a Tuesday. I edit it on a Wednesday. By the time the show comes out on Friday, I'm already thinking about next Tuesday's show. So I'm not even mentally like there anymore. And they might be talking about something that happened the Friday before on that show or whatever. So it's fun and it's like really good to interact with those. But earlier in the week, I was talking about reclining on an airplane and why people shouldn't do it. And as I was saying it, the phone was lighting up.
Yeah.
And so it's very different because in my past world, or in the other stuff I do, you edit a video for like an hour and you can sit there and you can be content with it and you go, even if this gets 2 views or 2 million views, I'm happy with this video.
Yep.
So if someone says something negative about it, it doesn't really matter because you're content with it. On the radio, you're walking without you're walking without a net, right? So when the phone lights up after you've said something, that might not have been the most revised, best way to say that. That might not be exactly what you mean.
It's raw, right?
Exactly.
It's just you're saying what's on the top of your head, right?
So my heart like sinks when I say something that like is a little bit like emotional inducing, and you go, how do you feel about that? and then the other thing is, what I love about my pod is their voicemails. So if someone says something stupid, we'll rip into them. And we're like, you idiot, what are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. And we all have fun. They don't get to reply. They can send a new voicemail next week. If I call someone an idiot on the phone, they're going to give it right back to me a second later. So it's same, but different. Like, I think the voicemails have definitely helped me, like, know what to talk about. But you'll notice too, I'll talk over people on the phone a little bit. I need to get that up, like that skill up, because if I talk over someone on the pod, it like is what it is. Really, I can drop the levels and whatever. But when I talk over someone when they're on the phone, you go, oh.
Yeah, you have to have a bit of a pause. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, mate, it's there is something really kind of terrifying about it when you are live, and as you said, it's something that you're really passionate about that you're driving in. But then it's always that relieving thing when, oh, the phone's lighting up. What do they want? And they go, yeah, is it time to pick the riff?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's in half an hour, buddy.
And we'll let you know.
Yeah, we will let you know. Are you listening to what we're saying? But you've done great for the first week, and there's been plenty of highlights. Should we go through a few of the highlights?
Yeah, well,
of what's been a big first week for you and Brekkie Radio, and the first week of Archie and Donny, the breakfast radio show.
Yeah, Matty Bowen on Monday was crazy.
Yeah, well, you told me before you got here that you were a Cowboys fan, and they. I think that was pretty well received from most of the people who are up here.
I'm surprised by how many people think it's a negative thing.
Well, the thing
it's
is,
really weird.
I think it's because the audience on Power 100, they are slightly older.
Yeah.
And they were following footy before the Cowboys were a thing, right?
Yeah.
So there are some rusted on Broncos fans up here who still like to kind of hate on the Cowboys, which is strange.
It's strange because in Brisbane, no one hates the Cowboys. They'll just not think about them. And then
that's what Cowboys fans hate.
Yeah, I remember at the 2015 grand final, I was ready to rip into everyone around me, and people were saying, "Oh, it's like we both kind of won." How could you feel that way? How could you possibly feel that way? But yeah, it's weird hearing. I thought if anywhere on planet Earth, being a Cowboys fan wouldn't get me a side eye, it would be 100 meters away from the stadium where we record this right now. I'm rocked, like, because even in Brisbane, if you say you're a Cowboys fan, no one says, "What are you talking about?" It's not until I got up here they're saying it.
I remember, I think it was Brian in Mount Low gave you stick because he's a big Bunnies fan.
Yeah.
There was someone, I think there was two, even maybe your best mate David down on Flinders Street, who you made friends with this week, and brought him a coffee during our show, which was very, very impressive. I think he's a Bunnies fan too, from memory.
Yeah, right. Well, I've got a soft spot for the Bunnies, so I can get in there, right?
Yeah, and you know what you'll find? There's an amazing Facebook group here in Townsville called the Everything Townsville Group, and people do, weirdly, love rubbing it in when the Cowboys lose, and you're kind of like,
odd.
This is the home, this is a one-city team.
Yeah.
One code here. Like, there's no other professional team here anymore, and people just like to wind each other up like that.
Massive pick-me energy.
Yeah.
You do know what that is?
Pick me like,
look at me, look at me, look at me, like center of attention energy. You're only saying that because it goes against the status quo. You don't actually feel that way.
Yeah, it's strange. There are some kooky things about Townsville that I think you've already picked up on.
There's a few. I love it though. I absolutely. You know what? I can't get over the lack of clouds.
Yeah, I know.
There's never a cloud in the sky. Because I was talking to someone, I think Metallica Mon earlier this week, about how the sunsets here are just so nice. I think it's due to the lack of clouds.
I think you might be onto something. I mean, where I live in Douglas, which is kind of what people in Townsville would refer to as the suburbs, because it's like 20 minutes out from the centre and 20 minutes from where you live as well. You've picked a nice little bougie apartment near the centre of town. But the sun that sets like out near Mount Stewart, which is like, you know, in Townsville, anybody listening outside of Townsville, you've got Castle Hill or Castle Mountain, as we made it, in the middle of the city, and then there's Mount Stewart, and it's kind of like a city nestled between these two things.
Yep.
And the sunsets out there are amazing. But yeah, I was surprised too, man. I mean, I think you're probably going through what we experienced in our first couple of weeks here, like not knowing much about it. You probably knew more about Townsville than I did before I got here. And it's, you know, I'm not saying this just because people in Townsville are listening, like, it actually is quite a pretty city.
It is.
It's got some really beautiful parts to it.
It's super nice to look at. It's legit like you're at the coast, which I wasn't. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. I think when I think of regional Queensland, I think of farms and my sister in Emerald. Not that I've been, but I think of those kind of cities. And my mate lives out at Roma. I don't know. I obviously knew where it was geographically, but I never really put two and two together about how close it was to the water. I can see the water from my place.
Yeah, it's kind of. Well, I mean, I love how your place says it's a water view apartment, and there's this slither of blue that you can see. If the palm trees aren't blowing in one direction, you can see the ocean. Bang! It's an oceanfront place.
Yeah. But no, on Monday, surprising me with Matty Bowen.
Yes.
I've said this before, but I'm normally pretty good with footy players. They don't rock me. I really respect them. And I love meeting them and bumping into them. But I've got to go to a fair few events now where I get to bump in and have a yarn with footy players. And I've interviewed them on my pod and stuff. All nice enough guys. But it's never really been like a starstruck situation. I've never been nervous. But with Matty Bowen, I had a legit pit in my stomach. I don't know why. I mean, obviously I know why because I watched him growing up.
Yeah.
But I think there was an element of it too where it's if I upset a footy player, they have so much I don't know. They don't have to care about it. But I'm I want Matty Bowen to like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's your childhood hero. Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, you were a lot better coming face to face. You were a metre away from what you refer to as your childhood idol. I had a similar thing happen to me last year here in Townsville because, my main sport's English football, football in general, soccer. Yeah. And my biggest hero growing up was Steven Gerrard, the captain of Liverpool, right? And in the weirdest twist of fate of my life, last year, Aston Villa came to Townsville. Well, they were in Australia. They played one game in Townsville on a Wednesday night. He was the head coach of Aston Villa, and it became my mission to meet him. All I ever wanted to do in my life was shake his hand and say hi to him, right? And then when he came here, I got to shake his hand when they had an open training session, but there was thousands of fans around. But then I was invited to be in the media box for that and to go to the press conference after the game, and I couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
My heart was beating out of my chest. I just put him on a pedestal, but I also knew it was the only time I'd ever get to meet him.
Yep.
And he got sacked 3 months later, so that was it.
Yeah.
But Matty Bowen is someone who you will definitely get to see again.
Yeah, that's what's so funny about that. But I don't know what's worse, because you don't want to be this kid on the radio station, he's a bit of a weirdo, isn't he?
He was a good sport, though.
He was really good. He loved it.
So we blindfolded you.
Oh, no.
we blindfolded you. We brought him in. I told Matty Bowen beforehand that we were doing a bit of a bit with him. I said, mate, he's going to be blindfolded. He loves you. Probably jerked off in front of, posters of you in his bedroom wall when he was a kid. But if you could just play it up a bit, when he asked you these questions like a guess who. And then I think he took it a little bit too seriously because he lied about one of the first questions you asked him, which was, where are you from? Now, we knew he was from Cairns, but he was like, oh, no. But no, I don't know.
I listened back to it. Right. I said, have you flown in here like me, or are you from here?
Okay.
And I think it's fair enough for him to think, no, I didn't fly here. I live here. Because he might have thought that I literally... I don't know how he could have thought that, but maybe I literally flew there that day.
Yeah.
Because the way that I said it was, have you flown in like me, or are you from Townsville? And he said, I'm from Townsville. Which, I mean, inherently is false, but...
Okay, so you're already trying to defend your idol by saying it was the question you asked.
It must have been me.
Yeah, right. But you handled that well, and then you played a game of Bowen versus Donny.
Yeah.
The first of its kind, might be picked up by Channel 9 or Channel 7 in the future.
I've heard rumours swelling.
Apparently Larry Emder's going to host it too. I've already been shafted as the host. But you lost. You lost to Matty, but you put up a good fight.
His reaction when I knew that his debut was against the Broncos was very funny.
It
was very funny. But also, they used to play the Broncos round one every year. So it's good, but it's not how did he know that?
Yeah.
If you were picked in the team and you started the season.
So to pull the curtain back just a little bit, I kind of gave him a bit of a preview as to what some of the questions would be.
Right.
And I said to him, look, some of them are going to be real general questions. And then just in the hallway outside the studio, he goes, well, I know the answers to them. I'm like, yeah, it'd be like this, where you're born, where you're from, and what your birthday is. And, do you remember what year you won the Dally M Fullback of the Year? And he, his eyes darted left and right. He's like, was it 2005? I'm like, it's 2007, right? I'll give you one of the answers right now. So I guess when you got as many accolades as him, you might not remember all of them.
What was funny was you know how one of the questions was, because I was getting onto who it was, and I was like, you tall, average height, or short? Because growing up, Matty Bowen in my mind was this really quick, short guy. And he was like, I'm average height. And then when I saw him, he's like my height, 6 foot. He's like, he's like my height. I was rocked by that. I was like, no, you're little Matty Bowen. This doesn't make any sense at all.
You did ask when he was quick. That was a good answer.
Yeah. And he was I was like, did you revolutionize Cowboys football with your best mate who's got a good laugh? He's like, I guess so.
Well, I thought you handled yourself very well there. You know, it's part of the job, us talking to big names and all that. Normally it is because of where we live, we'll be down the phone. But when we've got the opportunity to have someone local like that come in, open the show, which was nice.
Because there's this big joke on the pod. So a few months ago, we were doing like a last man standing where we put two names up against each other. You pick one, it goes on. And it was, who would you rather have a beer with? And it was JT up against, I think, Liam Gallagher. And I said, I'd rather have the beer with Gallagher because I believe in my heart there'll be an opportunity where I genuinely get to have a beer with Jonathan Thurston. And I am now only 1 degree of separation away from Jonathan Thurston.
True.
I am that much closer to JT via Matty Bowen.
So you went for a bit of a pragmatic approach to that question.
Yeah.
But you never know, mate. Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville's always looking for talent. Liam Gallagher could probably sell it out. Pink's coming here next year. Elton John opened this venue that's just down the road. So
I don't know. Gallagher could come. He was in Australia not too long ago. Did he come up here?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I
only want to see I don't want to see Gallagher in concert on his own.
Yeah, you want to see him in Oasis.
Because he does Oasis songs, but I don't. It's not Oasis.
No, it's not.
And I know it's hard to say on like Power because we don't play a lot of Oasis. We play a little bit. I'm pretty sure it's in there.
Yeah.
But I love Oasis.
Right.
Love Oasis. So I really want them to get back together for one tour. The money they would make would be incredible.
But him and Noel hate each other.
I know
or is that part of the act?
You know what I mean? It's like,
it's part of it sells their music, continues to this day.
Of course, yeah, you hate each other. You hate each other so much. How much do you hate $100 million? You know what I mean? Like,
be a good question to ask him though. How much would it take for you guys to do that?
He'd probably tell you to piss off. I reckon that's that's the one question you can't ask those two.
It's probably something they get asked regularly though.
Yeah. And then on Tuesday, you tried to ruin my life, or my dating life, anyway.
Yeah. I'd say that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
We had your best mate, Gemma. Well, all week we had people in your life come on to tell us a bit about you.
Yep.
And yeah, Gemma came on. You're a very good friend. I thought it was very hip of you to have a best girlfriend as well. That was nice.
It's very interesting. Like, a lot of people ask the question, like, are you like, has there ever been anything there? Or like, how are you such good friends? And I'm like, it's so honestly, never.
You've never even wanted to?
Nah.
Like you guys have never kissed?
Never. Never, ever,
But
ever.
you would?
No.
Yeah, you would.
Genuinely no. And not only because that's gross, but also because one of my best mates is a long-term partner. So
okay, let's take that away though.
Definitely not. But I was like full behind the curtain. This is Archie and Donny extra. I had been talking to a few girls in Townsville. Some messages haven't come back since Tuesday. Since the Toenails.
Have you actually got on the apps?
Not on the apps.
Oh, see, that's how
Mate, the billboard
good you
does
are.
wonders. I tell you that. I tell you that much
It's
for free.
There's a lot of big dick energy.
Yeah.
With you coming into a town with a billboard everywhere to then jump on, like you could slide into people's DMs here in Townsville to go, I'm sure you've seen Woolcock Street billboard by now. I'm sure. Have you been to the Herbert Hotel? You can't miss me. You see me when I walk in the door.
My entry into this city has been the most preposterous thing ever, because not only is it there's ads everywhere, and we were on the third page of the Bully and the front page in a little section, right? We were everywhere.
Yeah.
I was in the Bully after the media ball, right? I'm starting to think maybe just not a lot of nice news happens, so they just grab what they can grab. But I like to think otherwise. But it wasn't just from Monday. It was the lead-in to the announcement. So not only was it so over the top on Monday when I did finally come out as Donny, the lead-up, the build-up. So now, the amount of weight that I had to throw around on Monday, any DM that I wanted to send was sent or received. But then, after Tuesday happened, it all flashed before my eyes very quickly. very, very quickly.
Well, just so you know, it's always going to be good for the show. The more failures you have in that department.
A lot of people think that it has been a deterrent in the past with females is they think that I'm going to talk about the date on the podcast and then I've spoken to people, they think, oh, you're going to talk about my date on the radio. And I'm like, man, I'm pretty self-involved. I've got enough things to talk about myself. Like, I'm pretty egotistical. Like, there's enough on my own before I start dragging you down.
You would be surprised, though, having done radio in some small towns, people do think like that.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that I would blame on me not picking up. It was mainly because they just worried that it'd get on the radio.
Yeah, that must be it, right?
Yeah, that's got to be the only reason. There's a lot of baldest people out there. Yeah, but Jem said this great story on Tuesday on the show about you leaving. She said upwards of 20 toenails in the spare room of their place when you were between houses and you were clipping your toenails there and not putting it in the bin. So there was a listener who rang up afterwards saying that they almost threw up having listened to that.
So I'll tell you the full story of that. I was staying at Jem's for a while me and my ex were on a break, right? And I was not being myself. I was I was a bit shell-shocked, you know? And I wasn't, the room wasn't as tidy as it should have been. There was toenails on the bedside table. I was going to clean them. What happened was me and my ex decided on just one day, let's move back in together and see how we go. I rush home, grab a bag, and I'm out of there. I didn't even really say goodbye. So I...
Say goodbye to the toenails?
No, to the household.
Oh, sorry.
And then... because there was, funnily enough, one of my best mates was also living with Gemma at the time because he had just broken up with his long-term girlfriend. It was the Heartbreak Hotel, we called it. We were staying in a room, but I had the good bedroom. So if he had not been staying there definitely would have been time for me to come back and clean up. But literally, before my car had left the driveway, he'd started moving things into the bedroom. So the toenails were discovered at a rapid rate.
And just remind me, how long does it take to remove toenails off a table? We're not talking like my washing machine was stuck in the room and I was running out the door, so obviously I couldn't find a second person to move. We're talking about a brush of the hand off a bedside table into a dustbin or something. You're making it out like it's this big job that you weren't able to do because you had to leave that day and some old bloke was waiting with the ticket to get in the room immediately.
Yeah, no, it's a poor excuse, but it's the excuse I'm running with.
That's all right, man. I leave toenails everywhere. It just hasn't been exposed on the show yet.
Well, speaking about washing machines,
yes,
you attempted to help me move mine on Wednesday.
I think I successfully helped you move that machine.
You did help me move it after a lot of whinging, that I secretly recorded you. And now I installed that washing machine on my own. Do you know what is required with installation of a washing machine?
Isn't it just there's like the two pipes at the back, one goes in the hot, one goes in the cold, and then there's the third one, which is obviously the power.
And also the travel nuts.
Yes, that needs to be removed.
There's 4 travel nuts, and they were very hard to get out. I tell you that. Well,
you don't have a toolbox up here yet.
I don't have a toolbox, and the spanner that they gave was like this 3 mil thick piece of steel, sharp as edges. You would never read about it. It was almost impossible to get these moving lugs out. And then I installed it on my own, and now I've got clean undies again. But I have a fridge I need to get into the place, and I know for a fact I won't be able to call you.
No, definitely not.
But you know what's actually really funny about the washing machine thing? Is I was going to go get it on Sunday, and I had someone else lined up to help me. But I lied and said it wasn't ready because I felt so bad about asking for help.
Who was going to help you?
Alex.
Oh, okay.
And he was all good to help, but I was just like...
He would have been much better than me.
Something just came over me and I was just like, I just feel wrong asking for help. So at least we got content out of it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that is sometimes the best way to think about things. A lot of the time, again, peeling the curtain back a bit, there are easy options and then there are what would be kind of entertaining for the radio show, the ways that we could do these things. Because you're right, there are... And that's what you're going to find over the next couple of weeks is... the things that happen in your everyday life that are everyday life, there's a lot of humour and entertainment that can come from that. So I was happy to help you. I do find it enjoyable that you decided to take me up on the offer of, anything you need. You know, I'm your man, but also there were, 18 steps at least? 19.
Least 18.
And look, I'm not a big guy, man. So
no.
You really put a lot of trust in me.
You're a fit guy. So, and we were sharing 25 kilos each. Like, it's not that...
Actually, it was 30 each. It was 60 kilos.
It was 50.
You shed 5 off when you said that on the show. I said 55 kilos. It said 60 on the box.
Did it? I swear it said 55.
No, it was so hot. You had sweat in your eyes. You weren't reading the back of the washing machine right.
But, okay, I was happy we put the washing machine in because the next day my bed got delivered.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so awkward.
We didn't even get to this on the show this week.
It was just so awkward because I was enough of a manly man with you on the Wednesday to move the washing machine up. No, we definitely couldn't have got this bed up. It's heavy, it's big, and they said Rob at Snooze, great guy, went through this whole like body scan to get my mattress.
Oh, I did that there too.
Amazing.
Well, when you lie on the bed and it gives you your profile, you've got to lie on each side, and then it reads your body.
It was so funny. I got there and I'm talking to him, and I said, "Yeah, I'm the new breakfast guy." And he's like, "You like the Cowboys?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes,
"Trying to get a discount?"
He goes, "No." Yes. And he goes, "I got to show you something." And we go out. He takes me out to the back, and I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna go look at the exclusive mattresses because I'm a Cowboys fan."
And I've got billboards in town.
And he has nailed to one of the archways above the doors a massive, massive cutout of Jonathan Thurston's head, and he said that's from his last ever game at Dairy Farmers Stadium. There was 4 of them going around the ground, and we're meant to hand them back. I put it under my arm, and I nicked it, and he hung it up in the warehouse at Snooze.
I wonder where the other 3 are.
Well, that's what he was saying. He's like, there's only 4 of these in existence.
How does he know that? Because he only saw 4 on the ground that night?
I think so. But I think there's a bit of him that like he knows JT has one.
So
he's like, there's an exclusive club of 4 members, and 2 of them are me and Jonathan Thurston.
Could we find the other 2?
I reckon.
Like, could we try and unearth? Like, they're not going to be asked to be handed back. I don't know if they are. I mean, look, you could argue that they would be items of cultural significance for Townsville that might belong in like the Smithsonian version of Townsville.
You're not going to get this. This is nailed to the wall.
In someone's house?
No, at Snooze.
At
Snooze.
I don't necessarily want to pinch them. I just want to know, will the other 2, Jonathan Thurston, big poster people, please stand up?
Yeah.
Can we find them?
Yeah, surely they're out there. And surely there's been other big heads. I feel like big heads getting passed around stadiums is a relatively new thing, right?
Yeah, well, when I first got to Townsville, on my first day, I was driving strangely near where I live now, and there was an enormous paper mache. I'm talking one of the biggest paper mache sculptures I've ever seen in my life in someone's front garden of Jonathan Thurston, just of his head.
Yeah, right.
With the headgear on and everything. And that bloke must have moved because I asked Wildy about it, one of the guys who's at the radio station, and he reckons this guy always makes big paper mache art installation things, but now there's nothing there. So the big JT paper mache is no more.
And it was outside?
Yeah, it was outside. Like on the
paper
side
mache is such an interesting outdoor art textile to use.
I guess it was coated in something that kept it waterproof.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't rain much up here, remember?
That's very true. But no, so the guys from Snooze were dropping off this bed.
Yeah.
And I just felt so awkward because they're doing all the heavy lifting up those mental stairs. And I say to them, I'm like, do you guys need a hand with anything? And they go, well, I mean, there's pillows in the truck. Like, that's where they pinned me. And then so I just go, you boys thirsty? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, let me run off and get us all some Powerades because we're having they were very grateful for they were rocked by the Powerades.
So you got one for yourself as well?
Yeah.
For all the hard work, you need to replenish those electrolytes.
I think it would have been weirder if I showed up with just 2.
Yeah, true.
Because I had to drive like 2 minutes away to go get them.
You've been delivering a few things. I know we're getting a bit ahead here, but you gave the moving guys 2 Powerades, and you actually delivered a coffee to one of our listeners on the show today, which we're recording this on Friday.
Yep.
So
I'm just a nice guy.
And
you know the craziest thing about it all, because I'm living in between, I'm at the hotel across the road and I'm at my place. It's only 5 minutes away. I've been driving so much. My car got here on the weekend on Friday with half a tank of fuel. It still has a quarter of a tank. I've been in my car so much, and the distance traveled has been so few.
You're very lucky you live in a town this size now.
It's amazing.
Yeah, how have you found driving around in your massive, certainly conspicuous red Jeep that is... It's really hard to notice it when it's on the road. There's only one bloke who's got a bigger car in Townsville, and his name's Michael, who is the sponsor of the breakfast show.
Yeah.
He's got this enormous black... I don't even know what brand car it is.
I pulled up next to... it was like a beefed up like Ram, but my car was like just slightly bigger.
Right.
And it was a bit of like, there's a new sheriff in town, but there's a new there's a new sheriff in town. But these roads are built for it. these roads are massive. My old boy, I was saying to my old boy, I'm like, oh, the roads up here are massive. He's like, yeah, that's for when they used to have camel trains. And I'm like, what? And he's like, so they could turn around a herd of camels. I'm like, there's just no way that's true. But like, then why is Flinders Street so big? Like, what are you talking? But the roads here are definitely wide enough, and I haven't really had an issue parking it. In Brisbane, I can't park it anywhere. Whenever I leave the Caxton Hotel, it takes 15 minutes because that hotel is the car park there is built for two things: normal sized cars and amazing nights, and not big red Jeeps. So it takes me the nights before a Broncos game, when they already have the bars set up in the Caxton car park, and me trying to maneuver around those with that Jeep is just, it's laughable is what it is.
Well, you fit right in here in Townsville because I feel like an idiot driving a not ute.
Yeah. Well,
everyone here has a ute. Everyone here's got a big people mover.
When I came up for the demo, I saw like 6 cowboy hats in the space of before I left the airport. And there's been a severe lack of cowboy since I've been here. I went to the rodeo, but that was a very condensed...
Sure.
But since the rodeo...
You're not seeing enough cowboy hats because you've been in the city. You've got to come out to the sticks.
Yeah, right. So there's cowboy hats out there.
I'd say there's more.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a few more.
But no, it did feel awkward watching them move the bed, but I'm very grateful.
No.
Very, very grateful.
I'm excited to hear the updates from your bedroom very soon.
Yeah.
Once you become a local. Can't wait to meet your neighbours.
Yeah.
What are they like? You seen anyone around there yet?
I haven't seen my neighbour yet. We've both heard each other come and go, though. And the doors are right next to each other. We're the only two up there on that floor. I haven't seen them yet, but there's a pair of thongs out the front. So, and they're small thongs.
Like a pineapple on your door. Mix it up there. Come on. Why not?
Not doing that. Maybe when the tube bed shows up, I'll do that. But until then, I'm not doing it.
Well, talking about your life of luxury, one of the highlights this week I thought was when we had your mate Jord on the show. Your best mate Jord came on and shared with our listeners all week. We were trying to find out things about you from your loved ones, and he was talking about how you bought these priority passes at Dreamworld so that you wouldn't have to wait in line like a bum at a theme park.
Also, the thing that really annoyed me about this is it was Movie World, and that was me and Jordan's first ever viral video, and so he should know that. He should know that it's Movie World. You know?
Oh, right. He's got it wrong.
Yeah, it's Movie World, not Dream World. That was the first time me and him ever went viral, quote unquote. You should know. It was an important moment in my life, Jord.
How did you feel having our new audience hear that you are a bit of a bougie guy?
It's nerve-wracking because it's not because we play it up so much. So it's not. There's definitely truth to it, but I get nervous because some people think that especially like in the current situation, people are very quick to be like, oh, so you'll think you're better than me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I need to stress so much. I'm not someone that's loaded and throwing cash around. I make poor financial decisions routinely. Yeah. That is what this situation
Would you say
is.
you're a professional at spending money?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not a professional. I'm unemployed at spending money. No one would hire me to spend their money in a million years. I'm the biggest knee-jerk panic buy, impulse buy.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I do, I think what it was me and my ex, when we would go somewhere, because we both worked at the same place, and we worked, 5 days a week, 50 hours a week, like a lot of people do. But when we weren't to, I know a lot of people.
Yeah, mate, you're a battler.
I know, but so when we did go out and we weren't just tired on the weekends, I was like, oh, let's go, We're not doing something every single weekend. Let's actually go and do it. And then I've just got this reputation of blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, well, I don't do a million things. I'll do 5 cool things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see how you're justifying it.
Yeah.
Still, I think it's going to be interesting hearing our listeners react to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you know what? It's crazy. There are a lot of people who listen to Power 100 who, times are tough and not everyone's that well off. There are people who haven't left Queensland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find it sometimes I struggle talking about some of the things that I've done because...
Yeah, because you're very well travelled.
Yeah, been around the world many times and, even again this year, going back to the UK for Christmas, it's a big push financially to do it. So I can understand from your perspective it might be difficult sometimes talking about
100%.
things like that. But thank you to George.
It's all points.
Yeah.
I'm a big points hack.
Yeah, man, I only got on points this year. I'm
amazing.
an idiot. I don't know why I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
It is, man. I don't know. I needed better financial advice when I was younger.
Troy Kinney, the interview.
Yes.
That was our first ever interview.
Yes, with the guy from the Magic Basket videos online.
And we edited it.
we did edit it, and it was a very cute moment for you, Donny, because we are going to be interviewing people a lot of the time. And as I've now learned, I mean, I've taken it for granted because I've been in radio for a long time. But when you do these interviews, you just rip straight in.
Yeah.
You give them a nice intro, say a few facts about them, make them feel special. And then they say, yeah, how you going? And then like, good morning. They say hello. And then it's straight into the first question, right?
Yeah.
But one of the great moments was I gave him a great intro. We played some of his audio from one of his clips. And I said good morning to him. And we had a script written down for you to ask a question.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, hey, anyway, man, so how are you? And Kenny's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
I just said that.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. And then I just had to completely take the reins and go, well, look, we've seen you on your TV. You've been on the ABC. Tell us about this show that you're bringing to Townsville. And then just watching you crumble live was very enjoyable. But you learned your lesson pretty quick.
Definitely.
Because we did fair few, as you say, we do lots of interviews during the week. But that was hilarious, man. Asking him how he was. You ripped that off.
There's
don't do that.
nothing more nerve-wracking than when, you kind of get into your own, not for interviews, I'm very engaged with the interviews, but sometimes you're in that room for 4 hours, right? And sometimes you just get a little lost in your own head. And there's nothing worse than when you like aren't fully aware of where you are, and then Archie from across the desk just points at you, and you're like, "Oh shit! Yeah, dude, you're bald. Hey, like what?"
Well, that is the funny thing about that. You may, if you're listening to this, you might not know about radio. There are a lot of hand gestures because the mic's are live, like we're talking right now. And if I've just asked a question to a guest, the way you normally do it, unless there is a real immediate need for you to double down, it should go, I ask you a question, you ask a question, and I ask a question, and someone has to finish it or wrap it up, as we say. So there's lots of gestures that are going on so that it's just a smooth, the audio experience in the car listening, it's like as smooth as gravy. But really behind the scenes, there's a lot of panic. You don't even know all the hand gestures yet. So you're learning them as you go.
Like you'll go like...
It's sign language.
You'll pump. Windmill. I'm like, it's like you're a third base coach and I'm trying to steal signs. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, no, you've handled it well, though. That was a highlight for me. Donny, I'm looking at the clock right now, and you've got a flight to catch very soon.
Okay.
So I'm like, how do we finish up our first ever edition of what are we calling this? Archie and Donny Extra?
Yeah. What was your favorite moment of the week? Let's do that.
Ooh, I've got to say, and I know I've kind of got it written down here, but it proved to me how much you're willing to do for this show, but the fact that you reacted so well to me pulling the wool over you to get your ex-wife on the radio show this week was maybe a career highlight.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Because that is next level content, and there aren't many radio shows who push that uncomfortable barrier much in Australia. Everybody will, of course, talk about Cole and Jackie O.
Yeah.
The same rules that apply to them don't really apply for us. I mean, we've had sessions here before where with the guy who runs that show, one of the they would hate me saying that, can't Jackie? Nobody runs their show, but someone who was involved in their show.
Yeah.
I remember a story of them talking about Jackie had a gynecology appointment during the week. The next day, they had the gynecologist on the show talking about Jackie's private parts. Right.
Mental.
There aren't really many shows that are going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's one thing for us this week. We uncovered the fact that you were married young, and sadly that relationship is finished. But there aren't many shows.
Ironically, some people might say.
But there aren't too many people who would be like, there's no way the ex-wife comes on the radio show in week one. Week one. And that was one of the last things we did this week after you tried to get me by getting my current fiance on to talk some shit about me.
Yeah.
So that was a really big highlight for me because I think it showed the audience that, man, just when you think you can predict what might happen on our show, there are going to be moments where you won't be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you feel having Shah on the show?
I was more rocked than I think I would have ever anticipated to be in a conversation with Shah, because we were together for 9 years, right? And I'm not normally nervous around her ever. But then when she's on the radio and it's like anything could be said, there's 9 years of stuff to say. So there's anything that could be said. I was way more nervous than I had anticipated when you revealed it. I think I was expecting it to be a fake.
Right.
Because then I heard her voice. I'm like, oh, that is Shah. And we don't talk on the phone like every day anymore, you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was like first time I'd spoken to her in a minute. So it was very, very full on.
You handled it well.
But it was fun. It was definitely, and the phone lit up and people saying, "Oh, that was pretty full on." So
Yeah.
it's all there for the content, right?
Yeah.
So no, it was awesome. Thanks for doing that. That was sick.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You'll get more of that. And your quick highlight for the week?
It's just been the fact that I'm going to go see all my mates that were talking shit about me all week in an hour from now. And I get to go and confront them and ask, what's going on there? Huh? What's going on? When's your next job interview? Because I'll show up.
I've got to say, they were all such good talent. The fact that your close family, friends, your sisters, your mates, and Shah, they are very funny and very confident people. They weren't shy. We're going to hear them a lot on the radio show in the next couple of months.
Feel free to cut that. You don't need to gas them up anymore.
Dude, we better get to the airport.
Yep.
There's a flight, but hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll be back on Monday.
Sounds good.